My friends, we have a giant doc dump in the Anna Kepner case. We talked a little bit about it yesterday after we spent some time on the Nancy Guthrie case. Today we're going to flip it around. We're going to focus on Anna's case tonight, and there is some news in the Nancy Guthrie case, but we're going to focus on Anna because we've got so much new information. I want to let you know just right out of the gate that whenever I get documents in cases, one of the benefits that I give my patrons is access to those documents. So let me make sure that I set this up correctly. Did I? Let's see. Oh, close enough. We're close enough. If you go over to my website, which is gavinfish.com. Push the right button, Gavin. Push the right button, Gavin. There we go. Now I've shown you guys my agenda. Now you can pause and see what it is that we're going to talk. It's okay. I'm going to tell you anyway. On my website, scroll down. You can find Patreon link right there. You can also always find it in the description of the YouTube video and the Spotify podcast. But you will see there are 37 court documents that I have uploaded up there. And as more documents become available in this case, I will put them there. So if there's anything, well, I already said that. If there's anything new, I'll put it there. And if you are kind of on the fence about whether or not you want to support me on Patreon, that's just an added bonus. You can get access to those documents. Fear not, though, my friends. If you can't do that, there's no pressure. That's just an invitation, man. And it's one of the reasons we do the live stream. We'll go over the documents together, you and I. So beyond Anna Kepner, let's go over, let's see, we've got Anna's case. We got 3 questions tonight, a couple of really good questions in there. In the True Crime Headline segment, we are talking about some YouTubers that apparently are making some trouble out there in Tucson. Some updates on Amy Hilliard, Tyler Robinson, Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and we've got some good news. So we got a big, long show. And for Anna's case, I think I've got 4 documents queued up to go through. This feels like it's the old days, the Madeline Soto days, where we got so much that we could talk about. We may have to, I don't mind going long, but if it gets too long, we may have to split it up to tomorrow. Whew, so there's a lot. Stick with me. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, hello there, my friend. Welcome back to another True Crime Conversation with me, Gavin Fish. I'm so glad that you're spending some time with me on my channel. If you're new around here, we're kind of chill. And we're kind of spastic too at times. They seem to be appropriate times, right? We take our cases seriously. We take crime seriously. We take victims very seriously and their families. But we don't take ourselves seriously. We like to have a little bit of fun along the way. So if that is your jam, then you have found the right tune to do some dancing. And I'm glad you have. Thanks for tuning in. Wherever you're tuning in from, please tell me in the comments. I just love to check that out. I especially like when I find people that are close by and people that are far, far away. For those of you in the middle there, I love you too. But I don't know. It's fun to see people that are close, people that are far. It's pretty cool. A special note, I have put up a poll on the YouTube live stream asking what you guys think about using TH's full name. He is a juvenile. This is the suspect in Anna Kepner's murder and SA. However, he is now being prosecuted as an adult. And several major media outlets are using his full name I'm kind of on the fence. So tell me in the poll what you think I ought to do. So far, 73% of you are saying go for it. 22% of you are saying I really don't care, and then 5% of you are saying don't use his name. So, yeah, let your feelings be known. I think I will probably go by what you guys think. It's no secret what his name is. I'm just kind of on the fence. All right, let's do a brief recap, shall we? This is Anna Kepner. Anna Kepner was an 18-year-old young woman from Titusville, Florida. She died on November 7th of 2025 while she was on a cruise with her family on board the Carnival Horizon cruise ship as it traveled back to Miami from the Caribbean. She had been vacationing with multiple family members, including her 16-year-old stepbrother, with whom she shared a cabin on the trip. Her death, so ugly. She was missing for a little while. Where is Anna? Where is Anna? Where is Anna? She was discovered stuffed in among like spare blankets and life jackets and stuff like that in the cabin that she was sharing with at least one stepbrother. I think there were probably more. Her death was later ruled a homicide. It was caused by mechanical asphyxiation, according to the medical examiner. It happened while the ship was in international waters, which puts this into federal jurisdiction, which makes it easy for us to get court records once they became unsealed. If it would have happened in Florida, it probably would have been even easier, but it's a federal case investigated by the FBI. Authorities allege that her stepbrother, known in records as TH, is responsible for her death, and that prior to her death, he assaulted her in keeping this YouTube friendly, in an SAE manner. SA-ish, SA-esque manner. He SA'd her, right? According to authorities. I shouldn't say that as fact. According to prosecutors, according to investigators, that is what happened. So that is where we are. That's the case that we're talking about. Now, let's check in with you guys, see where you guys are coming to us from. Emmy is with us. She's from San Jose. I know that. Sharky's with us. We got Barb from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Thank you very much for being here. We got Daytona Beach here. Deanna, glad to see you. Good to see my moderators as always. Autumn, Mooney, and Robin, thank you very much for being here. We have got, who else have we got here? Canada's here. Thank you very much. Fredericksburg, Virginia is in the house. Thank you. I'm glad that you are here. Colorado is here. Saudi Daisy, Tennessee. Redding, California. I do love me Northern California. Normie Von Ormy is coming to us from Beyonce's hometown. Well, that is a clever way of telling us where you're from, though I don't know where Beyonce is from. I got to be honest. I'm not a Beyonce aficionado, let's say. Tracy Burns from Prague, thank you. You are currently in first place for farthest away, Central Arkansas, Bergen County, New Jersey. Thank you very much for being here. Let's see. Elizabeth says, Brian Enton interviewed a reporter close to the family, and he was using the name freely for what it's worth. Yeah, I think that we're going to go that way. Let's see. Half Nelson says, if there were any evidence that would leave any doubt he was innocent, I'd say to conceal his name, but there's so much stacked against him. For me, it's not as much about that, though I appreciate the comment. For me, it's more about he's being tried as an adult. So legally, I think he's an adult. Let's see. Ohio Palm Mom's having issues with the technology. Sorry about that. Let's see. Coffee Time 4D says, I'm not trying to sway you. Or I want to remind you that most of us enjoy and respect your integrity. I think you need to follow your gut on using his name or not. Yeah, my gut is telling me it's okay in this one. Drippy Erie PA is in the house. Jenny is back at us from the Queen of the American Lakes. We got Sarver PA in the house. The city of Cinco de Mayo is there. Beyonce's from Houston. Oh, I did not know she was a Texas girl. I had no idea. Montreal, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for checking in and telling me where you're from. I love that part. That's my favorite part. Okay, what should we start out with? We have done the recap on the case. Let's go over here. This is a document that we looked at yesterday, but I'm going to bring it up again. This is the indictment. This will kind of set us up for everything here. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the poll. I think I'm comfortable using his name. Okay. So here we go. This was filed on the 10th of March. There was information filed beforehand. This is known as the superseding indictment. It basically contains the same stuff. It is the United States of the America versus Timothy Hudson, a minor, as the defendant, and the grand jury charges that count 1 murder on or about November 6th, 2025, within the special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States upon the high seas and out of the jurisdiction of any particular state or district, with Miami-Dade County in the Southern District of Florida being the district in which the offender was arrested. The defendant, Mr. Hudson, a minor, did knowingly and unlawfully perpetrate and attempt to perpetrate a murder. That is, 1, the willful, deliberate, malicious, and premeditated killing of Anna Kepner with malice aforethought. And 2, the unlawful killing of Anna during the perpetration or attempt to perpetrate an aggravated SA. This was something that I think we all suspected. I even think extended family members probably talked about it a little bit, but it is the charge. It was aggravated because, let's see, it's not the count is just murder, not aggravated murder, but it was an aggravated SA. I do like to talk a little bit about malice aforethought. We talk about that from time to time. Malice aforethought means basically pre-planning, right? Intended to do it and planned to do it. However, that planning can happen in a moment, right? You're attempting to SA your stepsister, for example. She's not cooperating, and then she says something like, I'm going to tell mom and dad, and then, okay, well, then she has to go. That is malice aforethought. It can happen instantaneously. That was one of the things that was so frustrating when I was a member of a jury years and years and years ago on a double homicide case, that people not willing to come to the conclusion that, no, he didn't have to plan this for days and days and days. He decided to do it in the moment. It was really, really tough to make that argument. Okay, count number 2 is aggravated SA on or about November 6th. Again, within the special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of these United States, upon the high seas and out of the jurisdiction of any particular state or district, with Miami-Dade County and the Southern District of Florida being the district in which the offender was arrested. The defendant, TH, a minor, did knowingly cause or attempt to cause a person, that is Anna Kepner, to engage in a sexual act, that is, by causing contact between his, I have to keep this YouTube appropriate, sexual organ, let's say, and Anna Kepner's sexual organ, by penetrating Anna Kepner with his sexual organ and did so by use of force against Anna Kepner. And then the rest of the document is just, a couple of other things. It tells us basically murder, first-degree murder. He's facing life in prison and a maximum fine of $250,000. And for the aggravated SA, he's facing life in prison, maximum fine of $250,000. So not little charges here. Okay, so there are several documents that I decided to bring to you. These are a little out of order. I want to come back to this one, which was sealed and became unsealed. This was filed back in February. Now remember, Anna was murdered and assaulted, according to authorities, the previous November, right? So we're talking a little, 2.5 months, a little over 2.5 months later, they filed this motion, and it's an unopposed motion to transfer the case to adult status. And the reason I want to share this one with you is there's a lot of background, okay? The United States of America, by and through the undersigned Assistant United States Attorney, hereby files this unopposed motion to transfer case to adult status as the juvenile defendant, Timothy Hudson, pursuant to the provisions of Title 18 U.S. Code Section 5032 and the interests of justice. In support of its motion, the United States avers the following. Relevant factual background. On or about November 7th, so the 6th of the 7th, I guess they don't know exactly what date it was. Oh, no, Gavin, read ahead. Don't get ahead of yourself, Gavin. They found her body on the 7th. Okay, on or about November 7th, Anna Kepner, an 18-year-old female from Titusville, Florida, was found deceased in the cabin she shared with the minor and a sibling on the Carnival Cruise Line's Horizon of the Seas while the ship was on the high seas on its journey to Miami, Florida. The subsequent investigation of Anna Kepner's death resulted in the prosecution against the minor, a 16-year-old male. So there were 3 people in that cabin, right? Anna Kepner, Timothy Hudson, and a sibling. Anna Kepner's sibling. I'm having to remind myself of so many details. This is one of those cases where I've constantly been looking for updates daily. I've been looking for updates on this and haven't had them for months. So you'll forgive me if there are details that I've forgotten, but details that you remember that are important to you, please put in the live chat. I'd really like to hear your comments. And getting us started with the super chat is Just Ducky. Thank you very much, Ducky, with a $5 super chat saying thumbs up for Gavin and his awesome mods. I do have awesome mods. Thanks, Ducky. I appreciate that. Okay, and let's see if there's anything else you guys have said here. Yeah, I never would have guessed Houston for Beyonce Knowles. No. I'm old enough to remember when Beyonce Knowles was not just Beyonce Knowles, right? And now I'm blanking on the group. What is the name of the Destiny's Child, right? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm remembering music from the 90s. I had a moment there. I just had a moment. So yeah, I never would have guessed Houston. You are correct. Wouldn't have done it. Okay. Paragraph number 2, pursuant to provisions of the Juvenile Delinquency Act, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Florida filed an information on February 2nd, 2026, charging the minor with 1 count of murder in the first degree, a violation of this code, and 1 count of aggravated SA, a violation of that code. Again, you guys, that information document is available. It's one of the very first. It's one of the very first pieces of information. It's like file number 3, and I'm I've got these organized in a way that you guys will be able to follow them. You'll notice, like, for example, file number 17 is there, but file 18 and 19 are not. But I have included the docket report. It's just because it was probably a motion that was an oral motion or something like that, so there's no actual document. But it's all there, okay? The minor surrendered himself on February 3rd, 2026. So he wasn't charged for November, December, January, for 3 months. On the same day, the minor had his initial appearance and arraignment on the information before United States Magistrate Judge Edwin G. Torres, wherein he pled not guilty. He pled not guilty to the charges contained in the information. The minor also demanded discovery, and the magistrate court entered the standard discovery order in this matter. Additionally, a pretrial detention hearing was held on February 6, 2026, upon the government's request for pretrial detention. After an hours-long hearing, the United States Magistrate Judge Torres released the minor defendant with various conditions to the custody of a family member. We have a motion that I'm going to read. It's the latest one. It's the motion to revoke that, or to what is the motion? It's let's bring up Anna. It's the motion to review and revoke. Yeah. So we'll get to that. So yeah, he's charged with murder in the first degree. He's charged with aggravated SA of his stepsister, and he was released to the custody of a family member. I mean, I don't even think there was bond. But what do I know? They're probably rules for juveniles. Okay. Paragraph 5, pursuant to U.S. Code 18 U.S. Code 5032, the proceedings against the minor shall continue a final disposition hearing unless A, the minor requests to be proceeded against as an adult, or B, upon a motion by the United States requesting to transfer this matter from juvenile status to adult status. The United States now makes said request, which is unopposed by the minor. Consequently, the minor, Mr. Hudson, has executed a written document attached hereto as attachment 1 to this motion requesting he be proceeded against in this matter as an adult. So not only is the United States, the prosecution, asking that he be tried as an adult, he is, I mean, it's not even that he's unopposed to it. He full on is saying, yeah, let's do this in grown-up court. Interesting. I'm curious for you lawyers that are watching, if you could tell us in the live comment why somebody would rather be in adult court than juvenile court. I would love to know that. Okay. Continuing, analysis and memorandum of law. Quote, a juvenile who is alleged to have committed an act of juvenile delinquency and who is not surrendered to state authorities shall be proceeded against under Chapter 403, that is, under the provisions of the Juvenile Delinquency Act. Here, the United States has alleged the minor committed 2 acts of juvenile delinquency by information on February 2nd, 2026. I think that is an understatement, but, you know, legally speaking, it's probably accurate. He's a juvenile delinquent because we're saying he committed murder and aggravated SA. That is delinquency, I would say. At least. Normally, therefore, the provisions of the Juvenile Delinquency Act would require a delinquency hearing to be held for this court to make a determination of delinquency. However, this court may proceed against the minor as an adult in the interests of justice as outlined in Section 5032 under certain circumstances. Applicable here, the court may proceed against the minor as an adult of the United States as an adult if the United States makes a motion, as it does now, to the court for the discretionary transfer of this matter to adult status. This transfer may be requested where A, the juvenile is 15 years or older, B, the act which is alleged to have been committed was an act after the juvenile's 15th birthday. I think A and B are the same. Okay. C, the act is one that, had it been committed by an adult, would be a felony that is a crime of violence or a drug trafficking offense. If such a motion is made, the court must then conduct an evidentiary hearing to determine if the matter against the minor should proceed to adult status, where the government has the burden to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that the transfer of this matter is in the interests of justice. Here, the minor is 16 years of age and is alleged to have committed 2 offenses after the age of 15, which, if committed by an adult... Oh, I see the difference between A and B. Okay, I get it. It's the offense date and the charge date is the difference. Okay. So if it were committed by an adult, would both be crimes of violence. Moreover, the government avers that the serious nature of the offenses in this matter presents a compelling federal interest in transferring the matter to adult status. Finally, the authority to proceed with this motion to transfer has been authorized by the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, under the authority delegated to him by the Attorney General of the United States, as evidenced by attachment 2 to this motion, which is made a part of this motion. As such, government's motion meets the basic requirements for the court to consider this matter's transfer to adult status. Therefore, the court could proceed to a Section 5032 hearing if the minor objected to the government's motion. Nonetheless, there's more. The court may also transfer this matter to adult status if the minor, in writing and with the advice of counsel, requests such a transfer. Here, in addition to the government's motion, and as evidence in attachment 1 to this motion, the minor is requesting this court transfer this matter to adult status. As the minor has requested this in writing that this court proceed in the matter against him as an adult, the court need not proceed to a Section 5032 hearing, since under the plain wording of Section 5032, the minor's written request is also a proper vehicle for the court to transfer this matter to adult status. Once this court has entered an order transferring this matter to adult status, the government will then seek a 2-week period from the date, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I just see if there's anything in there that I want to... Let's see. I want to see about his... Here's attachment 1. So this is from the defendant, okay? A request to proceed as an adult and waiver of hearing pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 5032. And if I believe... I think this might be another document that is on the list. But anyway, defendant Mr. Hudson, a minor, comes now before the court and asserts as follows. He has sought the advice of counsel, Assistant Public Defenders Eric Cohen, Abigail Becker, and Evan Kuhl. He recognizes the United States has alleged by information he committed acts after the age of 15 years, which, if committed by an adult, would be felonies that are crimes of violence. He further understands that as a minor, the instant proceeding against him is currently a delinquency proceeding in juvenile status. He also knows the U.S. has made a request for this court, acting under this discretionary authority, to transfer this instant matter to adult status. He recognizes that should he contest the U.S.'s motion, this court must conduct a hearing, right? Further understands he would have an opportunity to present evidence, or the U.S., Gavin, don't yada yada this. He further understands that at this hearing, he and the United States would have the opportunity to present evidence regarding Section 5032's 6 factors, and the U.S. would have the burden to establish by a preponderance of the evidence that such a transfer would be in the interest of justice. He also knows that this court would consider and make findings regarding the 6 Section 5032 factors in deciding whether the transfer or to transfer this matter to adult status. And he further recognizes that should the court decide to transfer this matter to adult status after a Section 5032 hearing, he could appeal the court's decision, having understood everything as described above. And upon the advice of counsel, the minor waives his right to a Section 5032 adult transfer hearing and respectfully requests this court allow the matter to proceed against him as an adult. Signed by himself and his attorneys. I think there's the attachment 2, which is what is this? A memorandum for all U.S. attorneys. So this is like their authority delegated by the Attorney General, right? So, let's pause there and check in what you guys are saying over here on the old live chat. Looks like we got a couple more super chats. Thanks to Ducky again for starting us off. Thank you very much, Dom's mom. She says, Gavin, appreciate you and your mods in the fish tank. Do you think this will go to trial? And if so, it'll be televised? Man, that is a good question. So if this were in a Florida state court, yeah, cameras would be allowed, but in federal court? Let's see. Let me just do a quick search. No, federal criminal courts generally do not allow cameras, television broadcasting, or video recording of proceedings inside the courtroom, and that is from the Southern District of Florida. So no exceptions for high profile cases. Cameras are only permitted for administrative, ceremonial, or security purposes, or for submitting evidence, not for public broadcast. While federal trial courts bar cameras, some federal appellate courts may permit recordings at oral arguments. So yeah. Let's see. While video is banned, the judicial conference has at times authorized remote audio access to certain proceedings, though live audio of witness testimony in trials is generally not allowed, and pressure exists to expand these options for greater transparency. So yeah, first of all, Dom's mom, thank you very much for that super chat. It appears if this does go to trial, I think the likelihood of it going to trial is probably low. But if it does go to trial, it won't be televised. So this might be one of those where we need to get little old me in the courtroom to be able to report back on this. Yeah, Debbie, how the heck does he get released after an alleged murder and SA? I'm baffled by it as well. Let's bring up Anna's picture here. Must be because of the juvenile nature of it. It has to be that. Thank you for the super sticker, Doxies for Prince. Appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Elizabeth says, who is an attorney, as noted by her Esquire after her last name, I don't practice in juvenile court, although in most states it is a court not of record. There may be broader remedies being charged as an adult, such as pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. Just a thought. Oh, that's an interesting thought. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate you checking in on that. Devo Mama, thank you very much. She says in her super chat, we need your goofiness, never change. I am goofy. That is true. Is it true that Mr. Hudson strangled her? It is true that he is charged with her murder, and it is true that Anna Kepner died by manual asphyxiation. Those two things are true. Is it true that he strangled her? That is yet to be proven. But that is the charge. That is the charge. Thank you very much for that question. Debbie says, so I didn't know Gavin had to buy courtroom case reports. I thought they were a matter of public record. Yeah, so on the federal level, they have a system called PACER. It's access to court. I don't know. It's an acronym. Everything in the federal government is an acronym. But PACER allows you to search for cases and allows you access to the documents. And it is so easy. You just have an account. I've had an account for years, and they charge you basically 10 cents a page. It's so much easier than almost any other jurisdiction, as long as it's not sealed. So, I think I probably paid for those 37 documents. I don't know. We're probably at 11, 12 bucks. I didn't even look, right? Just charge my account. But even there are some states, Florida is famously just open. So if this were a state case in Florida, you pretty much can just get access to anything. They depending on the court, each court has a different system that they use. There are like 3 or 4 different systems, but yeah, you can get access to them quickly. The court records. But if you want access to investigative records that are not part of the court record, then you have to pay for those, and they get expensive. Like in the Madeline Soto case, I think my total budget in the Maddie Soto case was probably around $1,000. It's probably what I spent on everything there. I don't remember specifically. It's been a while. In the Todd Colehep matter, let me just show you this. If you go to my website, gavinfish.com, and go to cases, you will find my case repository. Okay. Now, the Todd Colehep case, he's a serial killer, fascinated me. And this was down in South Carolina. It fascinated me. And so I wanted every document I could get my hands on. And when I talked to the investigators, they were like, okay, well, we have to get a quote for you because we have 4 filing cabinets full of this. Most of it is not scanned in already. We'll have to get it scanned in. And I was like, great, just let me know. And then they came back to me like 3 weeks later. Okay, it's going to cost you, and I think it was like $28,000. And I did like a spit take. What? Right? But then the investigator said, you know what, though? We gave all of the pertinent information that was needed for his prosecution over to the prosecutor. Maybe you should call the prosecutor. And I called the prosecutor, and I got all of these documents, all of the photos, so many of them, right? And then there were follow-up lawsuits and so forth. So this is a really good example where, of course, I had to pay for him. But instead of like $28,000, it was several hundreds of dollars. It was $700 or $800. Same thing in the Ellen Greenberg case, right? Before I met her family and I was purchasing the documents, I think I spent about $700 on Ellen's case. But there are so many documents in here, and then ultimately I just became friendly and close with, like, I kind of consider Sandy my bonus mom. Ellen's mom. She's awesome. Here's another example. This is the Amanda Winkowski case. This is the very first case where I got access to case records. I got them from Amanda's family. In this case, she had to pay for the documents. Her own family had to pay for their daughters. The victim's family had to pay to get police records. And then I've shared a few that that her family allowed me to share. Of course, I kept everything else confidential. So yeah, that if they are public record, most of these are public record, but you usually have to pay for them. Great question. Going back to Anna, let's see. Affordable. You're goofy and smart and very accurate and friendly. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. You're welcome, Doxies for Prince. Let's see. Why is a case sealed then? Debbie asks. This case was sealed because the offender is a juvenile. That's why it was sealed. And if you go to, I can actually probably bring up the document. This isn't one that I prepared to bring up, but I will bring it up. This was the motion to seal by the United States government, right? Filed on February 2nd. The United States of America, by and through its undersigned attorney, comes down and respectfully requests that the information, certificate of trial attorney, penalty sheet, certificate of the U.S. attorney, arrest warrant, bond recommendation, order regarding detention of a juvenile defendant, this motion and any resulting order be sealed until further order of the court or transfer of this matter to adult status as required under the provisions of the Juvenile Delinquency Act. So yeah, it was required under the act. Accepting all entities and persons entitled to disclosure. The assistant U.S. attorney is prepared to provide further information in camera should the court so require. That means, in a person off the record meeting, or well, out of the public eye meeting. So that happened on February 2nd. Now, what's interesting is that there is a whole bunch here that we don't have, that they brought it up, right? We have the information. I don't think we have the certificate of trial attorney. I don't think we have the penalty sheet. I don't think we have the arrest warrant, the bond recommendation, the order regarding detention. I don't think we have any of that. So there's a whole bunch more that we're going to have to get our hands on. But it was sealed according to this motion because of the Juvenile Delinquency Act. Great question. Debbie, do you have the coroner's report and findings, or did you already cover this? I came in late. I do not have it. That was sealed as well. This will be something that we are going to have to make a request to the medical examiner's office. So, hey, Autumn Robin Mooney, maybe you can remind me. Maybe between the four of us, we will remember and put it into Slack for me to start making some. They will be FOIA requests for the documents that were listed in that motion, and then there will probably be a sunshine request for the state medical examiner. Let's remember to do that as we continue our coverage of this case. K Bling, we shouldn't have to pay for these documents. It should be public record with no fee. Amen. Amen. But no. It's not the case. In almost any jurisdiction, you have to pay for them. In the state of Pennsylvania, oh my goodness, the right to know law is the worst law in the nation. Pennsylvania's right to know law is the worst, and so expensive. Let's see, from Sandra, thank you for the super chat. I just don't get why he's not in custody now that he's being charged as an adult. DOJ requested his custody yesterday and he's still walking free, huh? Sandra, yeah, we're going to get to it. We got, I'm definitely getting there. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's see. Affordable. I'm Angie A. Ford Sable. Oh, I like Affordable better. But okay. Lol, but you are very appreciated and your viewers are not mean or a little cuckoo in other channels. Thanks for what you do. We all appreciate you. Yeah, we have got the classiest viewers in all of YouTube right here on this very channel. And I'm glad, Angie A. Ford Sable, that you recognize that. And it's really because of my amazing moderators. Okie dokie. Whew. Let's keep it there for now, and let's move to the next document. Let's see. We just did this motion for transfer the case to adult status. Let's go to this document from the 3rd of this month, the 3rd of April. This is the sealed, unopposed motion to modify conditions of release. Remember, he is a free person. And this was, let's see, I think maybe the order probably, well, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the timing. Let's just go through this. This is a 6-page document. Let me see if there's any background. We probably won't need to read this entire document, but this was a sealed, unopposed motion to modify conditions of release. The defendant, Mr. Timothy Hudson, by and through undersigned counsel, respectfully submits this unopposed motion to temporarily modify the conditions of his release and states in support of the following. On February 3rd, Mr. Hudson made his initial appearance on an information charging acts of juvenile delinquency, which we all know about, right? After hearing the testimony of FBI Special Agent Andrew Del Valle, and the arguments of both parties, Magistrate Judge Torres entered a release order. That order requires that Mr. Hudson be released to the custody and home of his uncle, Devin Zisk, or Ziske, or Ziske, I don't know, who is serving as a third-party custodian. Mr. Hudson must reside in Mr. Ziske's home under the supervision of an adult. The order further permits Mr. Hudson, to leave the home at Mr. Ziske's direction and in his custody. Hudson may not be alone with anyone under the age of 18 unless he is supervised by Mr. Ziske or another adult, which would mean he wouldn't be alone. While on release, Mr. Hudson is subject to GPS monitoring. Lastly, the release order provides that Mr. Hudson must comply with the orders of the family court presiding over his parents' custody case and alert pretrial services to any modifications of the custody sharing arrangements. By the way, one of the only ways that we knew about his Mr. Hudson being charged in this is because of that custody case. It's public in Florida. Florida is a very transparent state, and we got several pieces of information out of that. Okay. Mr. Hudson now requests a temporary modification of the release order to accommodate his uncle, Mr. Ziske's anticipated travel from April 8th to the 13th, 2026, ending yesterday, to attend a church retreat with his son. During the days of Mr. Ziske's planned travel, Mr. Hudson would continue to reside at Mr. Ziske's home in the temporary custody of Mr. Ziske's wife, Sarah. Mr. Hudson would be permitted to accompany his father, Thomas Hudson, to work between the hours of approximately 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. on April 8th through 10th. The elder Mr. Hudson works as a supervisor for a landscaping take two, Javi, company. During his time in his father's care, Mr. Hudson would not have contact with any minors. Mr. Hudson's father would then return him to the Ziske home in the evening. He would remain at the Ziske home in Ms. Ziske's custody on April 11th through 13th when Mr. Ziske returns. All other conditions set forth in the current release order would remain unchanged. They conferred with the AUSA. The government did not oppose. So that gave us a little bit of information of what his release order is. GPS monitoring, has to be with his uncle, cannot be with minors, has to be under supervision. And probably again because he was a minor. So there is that document gave us a little bit more information. Okay. This one that I wanted to share with you guys is the order transferring the case to adult prosecution. Remember, just a few minutes ago, we read the motion for the order. This is the order. The United States having filed an unopposed motion to transfer case to adult status, and the defendant, Mr. Hudson, a minor, having made a request in writing with the advice of counsel to have the matter transferred to adult status, and this court, having been advised by parties, finds the minor is accused of having committed offenses alleged against him by the U.S. after the age of 15 years, which, had they been committed by an adult, would be felonies that are crimes of violence, and the minor, having had the advice of attorneys, understands the U.S.'s request to transfer the matter to adult status and understands his right to a Section 5032 hearing, where the U.S. would have the burden of proof, blah, blah, blah. The minor has made a knowing and voluntarily written request to have this matter transferred to adult prosecution. Consequently, the court finds that it is in the interest of justice to transfer this matter to adult prosecution. Therefore, it's ordered and adjudged that this matter shall not transfer to adult prosecution until either the prior juvenile court records of the minor have been received by the court, or the clerk of the juvenile court has certified in writing that the minor has no prior record, or that the minor's record is unavailable and why it's unavailable. Upon receipt of the court of the minor's prior juvenile record, or the appropriate certification from the clerk of juvenile court as outlined above, that this matter be transferred to adult prosecution. And upon this matter's transfer to adult prosecution, the record in this matter, including all filings and the court's electronic docket, be unsealed. That was ordered back in February. All right. this is the last piece that I wanted to review with you guys. I think this is the motion for review and revocation of the order of release pursuant to the Bail Reform Act. And I want to see in the factual background if there's any. There's not tons of factual background. We've got to get that. In fact, hang on a second. Let me open the information file. No, the information file is just basically, you know what we want? What Robin and Mooney and Autumn, let's remember in Slack to look for the probable cause affidavit. We need to get our hands on that. So I'm not going to read all 14 pages here. Just this is the motion for the revocation of his order of release. Okay, the United States of America, by and through the undersigned Assistant U.S. District Attorney or United States Attorney, hereby files the instant motion as to the defendant and respectfully requests a review and revocation of the U.S. Magistrate Judge Edwin G. Torres's order of release previously entered in this matter pursuant to the provisions of Title 18, the Juvenile Delinquency Act. The United States requests this review pursuant to the provisions of Title 18, U.S. Code 3142 and 3145A1. The U.S. respectfully submits, by the way, this was filed with the court yesterday, okay, that the release order should be reviewed and revoked because once this matter transferred to adult prosecution, the JDA, the Juvenile Delinquency Act, no longer applied. In adult status, the defendant's detention or release should now be reviewed through the lens of a Bail Reform Act. And is more fully explained below, under the Bail Reform Act, the defendant is a danger to others and should be held in pretrial detention. Alternatively, the transfer to adult status is a change in circumstance that recommends a review and revocation of the release order. This is a very normal, lawyerly thing to do. Hey, here's argument number one. If that fails, here's argument number two, right? Argument number one is, hey, this now falls underneath the Bail Reform Act, not the JDA. But if you find it against me on that one, also there's a status change. So in support of this motion, the U.S. avers as follows. And we read this one already, but once again, on or about November 7th, Anna Kepner, an 18-year-old female from Titusville, Florida, was found deceased in the cabin she shared with the defendant, her step-sibling, and her half-sibling on a Carnival Cruise Line ship, Horizon of the Seas, while the ship was on the high seas en route to Miami, Florida. The subsequent investigation of Anna Kepner's death resulted in the instant prosecution against the defendant, Mr. Hudson, a 16-year-old male. Pursuant to the provisions of the JDA, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida first filed an information on February 2nd, making allegations against the defendant for one count of murder in the first degree and one count of aggravated SA. And then on the 3rd, he surrendered himself, right? And was officially arrested on the same day the defendant had his initial appearance on the information before Judge Torres, pled not guilty to the allegations contained in information. The defendant also demanded discovery, and the magistrate court entered the standard discovery order in the matter. Additionally, on February 6th, a detention hearing was held, and upon the government's request, the defendant be detained for dangerousness. The defendant requested the magistrate court also conduct a probable cause hearing. After the detention hearing, Judge Torres found there was probable cause for the alleged charges, but denied the government's request for detention. As a result, the magistrate court released the defendant to the custody of a family member with various conditions, which we read about. At the JDA detention hearing, Judge Torres also stated the government could ask to revisit the defendant's release status should this court transfer the matter to adult status. And then there was an order on February 26th and a written request to transfer the case, which it was. Pursuant to the transfer order, the U.S. filed certifications for the juvenile court of clerks of Miami-Dade and Brevard counties on March 10th. Furthermore, on March 10th, 12 days after the court's transfer order, a federal grand jury in the Southern District of Florida issued a superseding indictment charging the defendant with 1 count of murder in the first degree and 1 count of aggravated SA. On the 8th of April, after a hearing, Magistrate Judge Torres found the proper certifications had been filed with the court. Thus, Judge Torres ordered the transfer to adult prosecution be finalized in the matter and further unsealed the docket. As a result, on April 10th, 2026, this matter was formally transferred to adult prosecution. Consequently, consistent with Magistrate Judge Torres' pronouncement and pursuant to U.S. Code, the U.S. requests that the release order be reviewed and revoked. Moreover, as fully discussed below on page 13, the government also requests the status conference regarding the scheduling of a hearing about this motion be held. Let me see. I don't know that we need to really get into the memorandum of law. Basically, they're saying, hey, this is adult court. We need bond. We need to have a bond hearing, and we don't really need to get into that. Let me see if there's anything else that we want to get into. I want to get down to page 13 just a little bit. The government's request. The government therefore respectfully requests this court order and conduct a review or revocation of the release order under the provisions of the Bail Reform Act. The government further requests this court set this matter for a status conference in order to schedule a hearing regarding the instant motion. This status conference is necessary for the government to coordinate the attendance of the case agents and for the defendant to coordinate his travel to the Southern District of Florida with his attorneys and custodial family member for any subsequent hearing on the motion. Man, I would hate to be his uncle. So much stuff. Let's see. In accordance with local rule 88.9, the government has conferred with opposing counsel about the motion. Assistant Public Defenders Eric Cohen, Abigail Becker, and Evan Kuhl have stated their position as follows. If the court is inclined to grant the government's request for a status conference, counsel for minor TH request that this matter be referred to Magistrate Judge Torres to conduct a consolidated arraignment and status conference, and then to schedule a hearing to determine whether Mr. Hudson should continue on release with appropriate conditions or be detained pending resolution of the instant case. As Magistrate Judge Torres presided over the initial bond hearing here and set the current conditions of release, he is familiar with the facts supporting the government's request for detention. The parties therefore anticipate that little, if any, additional evidence will need to be presented at that hearing. The parties agree that Mr. Hudson should remain at liberty pending Magistrate Judge Torres' decision concerning the release. So, wherefore, the government respectfully requests that the court grant this instant motion and set a status conference and schedule a subsequent hearing on the motion. And that is from Mr. Quinones, United States Attorney. And I think that's it there. So that was filed with the court and published to the court yesterday. I'll go into Pacer and check from time to time. I don't expect that this will happen quickly. Right? Over the next couple of weeks, this will happen. We'll probably get some information on a hearing that is going to be held. Let's now go on over to your conversation over in the live chat. Let's see if there's anything you guys want me to see. Let's see. Jenny, thank you very much for upgrading your membership to Super Fanatic. That is awesome. Thank you for doing that. And I need to give you guys more stuff for being members. It's mostly my appreciation. I got to do videos. I got to do stuff. Cabling says, Gavin, this kid needs to be in jail. Did they ask for his arrest? This is what we're talking. Yeah, I mean, I know that you asked this before I read all that, but that's what's happening there. Let's see. Barb says, what does something like this do to the relationship between their parents? How does their relationship go on? Ooh, I do not know. Because this is a blended family, right? There are siblings from both sides, and then I think are half siblings, right? So it's yeah. I don't know how I could. I don't know. That's tough. Great comment. Hey, Sandra, thank you very much for sending gift memberships. That is amazing. You are amazing. Cabling says, just arrest him. He killed her and is now old enough to stand trial by way of the court. Then what are we all waiting on? We're waiting on due process. That's really what it boils down to. Yeah, thanks, Jenny. You are awesome. You are awesome. So, guys, that is our update on the Anna Kepner case. Remember that there is so much more. We'll probably go through more stuff in the coming days. But if you are a patron of mine, you can head over to Patreon and you can download all 37 court documents that are that I purchased and posted here. And hopefully, oh, it looks like they're a little out of order. I uploaded them in order, but they're a little out of order, but they're all there. Okay. So go and grab those. And if you see anything in those documents that I may miss that you think that we should cover here on the channel, please, please, please get in touch with me through the website, gavinfish.com. Click on this little icon right here. That will take you to a page where you can contact me, little envelope, and let me know. I very much would like to know if I miss anything. And let's see if there are any other comments on this before we move on. We've still got, we're an hour and 4 minutes into this, Gavin. Javi, we're going long, man. Wander, you okay in there? You got water? You got water? How about you, Javi? You good? Everything's good? Air conditioning's working? Okay, we're good. We're good. Debbie, thank you very much. My goodness, another super chat to help you buy more documents. You're awesome with your smooth velvet voice. I credit my parents for my voice. I have my dad's register and my mom's timbre. And I mean, I don't like listening to my own voice, but most people like the combination. So thank you very much. I will pass your compliments on to my parents for both what they contributed to my voice. I wonder about, I have 2 other brothers and I have 2 sisters. There are 5 of us. I think the one that I talk to the most is my oldest sister, probably, and she has a beautiful kind of an alto voice. Same kind of timbre as my mom, too. I should pay closer attention. I bet we've all got kind of fun voices. My mom's got this timbre. This is a bit of a tangent. I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow it. Man, that is a dramatic tangent stinger. I don't even remember what I was going to tangent on. Oh, my mom. My mom has this voice that is uniquely her. And I know that all children recognize the voice of their mother, right? But my mom's voice is so uniquely her. It sounds like she has like an extra couple folds in her vocal folds. It just feels like she's got multiple air passages going through there, and the timbre is just rich and beautiful. And she doesn't like the spotlight, never did, but she would hum and sing around the house as she was doing, her things around the house. And beautiful voice, beautiful, rich, luscious, thick voice that she just didn't really like to share all that much. Elizabeth, thank you very much for your super chat. People are asking for my faux cheesecake recipe, which really isn't mine. I mean, I've tweaked it a little bit. I got it off of TikTok of all places. I will try to remember to share that in the tank. It's delicious and high in protein and low in calories the way I make it, because I don't sweeten it with sugar or honey, though I have, and it's delicious, or like maple syrup. I do 0 calorie sweetener, and I think it's a good taste. So it lowers the calories. All come from protein and a little fiber. It's really, really good. But thank you very much for that. Debbie says, Gavin, can you sing? I have been known to sing. I wouldn't say that I've got the best voice in the world, but having grown up performing and in choirs and stuff like that, yes, I enjoy singing. I've got a bass voice. I do get up into the baritone registers, but and I actually used to have a pretty broad range where I could sing first or second tenor. The problem is in my age, my hearing, I just can't hear. I just can't hear in that frequency range, in the tenor frequency range. It's like it's mute there. Um, so yeah, and also because I'm out of practice, my range isn't very wide. Clarinet girl. Speaking of rich timbres, that. Oh yeah, clarinet is a beautiful instrument. Anna Kepner has 7 siblings, including step siblings. Thank you for that. Cabling says, you're a great podcaster. Your voice is soothing. Thank you very much. Sandra says, as much as I love cheesecake, I'd pay good money to get a hold of what you eat these days to get back your youthful glow. Oh, I can tell you. I can tell you. Okay, so I'm these days I eat about 2,000 calories a day. For those of you who are new around here, I started out as Fat Gavin. I didn't start out as Fat Gavin. I was Fit Gavin for many years, and then I got married and started having children and didn't exercise and had the stress of life and went through minor and major depression and over the 26 years that I've been married, I gained a lot of weight. I got up to 288 pounds. And last August, I said, I got to say goodbye to Fat Gavin. This also is a tangent, crying out loud. Oh, that was dramatic too. That was great. So what I decided to do was what needs to be done in order to lose weight. You have to have a caloric deficit, right? I wanted maybe to do a GLP-1, but I didn't want to pay for it. And I thought to myself, you can do this. You know what it takes. You just, and when I dedicate myself to something, I do a pretty darn good job of it, especially if there's going to be public embarrassment if I fail. So step 1 was recognize you got to say goodbye to Fat Gavin. Step 2, tell your audience on YouTube you're going to say goodbye to Fat Gavin. Therefore, that way, like if you fail, it's going to hurt. Because I just hate failure. Public failure is the worst for me. It's a major motivator. So I told y'all, this is what I'm going to do. And then there are 2 ways to do a caloric deficit, and you can either eat fewer calories or burn more calories. The best way to do it is a combination of those 2 things. So you start to get active, you start to exercise. You don't have to go crazy. You just get active, and then eat fewer calories. Now, in my case, I decided I was going to crash my calorie count because I had so much stored fat. So I went down to 1,100 calories a day, and then and then I started working out, and as I started feeling, hey, you need more calories in order to sustain your activity level, I brought up my caloric intake. Now I'm at about 2,000 calories a day. Okay. I am a creature of habit. So this is what I do for breakfast. For breakfast, I do scrambled egg whites with lots of salt and pepper. I hate eggs. I do not like eggs at all. They are gross to me, but I can stand egg whites if there's lots of salt and pepper. And I don't have any like family heart issues, so sodium isn't a real concern for me. In fact, I felt like I needed more sodium because I was drinking more water. I wanted to hold on to that, hydrate my muscles while I was working out. So lots of salt and pepper on my scrambled egg whites, and then one of the very few processed foods that I give myself is ketchup, because I love ketchup. And so I put some ketchup on there to cover up the taste. I don't like eggs, but I eat 180 grams of egg whites with salt and pepper with 30 grams of Heinz ketchup every morning. Along with that, so 180 grams of egg whites is the equivalent of 4 or 5 eggs, the whites of those eggs, right? Okay. Then, along with breakfast, my breakfast is big. It's like 800 calories. I do a an approximation of a dessert that my mom used to make for special occasions like Thanksgiving and Christmas. What she did was she would put cottage cheese, and I'm sure she did full fat cottage cheese with equal parts like Cool Whip, and then a package of gelatin, like flavored strawberry, lime, raspberry, whatever jello in there. She'd mix it up, put some pineapple chunks in there, called it pink salad. It was usually pink. Even if it was green, we called it pink salad. But I was like, well, I love cottage cheese. I love cottage cheese, and you can get non-fat cottage cheese, right? And I like non-fat cottage cheese. So I got that. And then I discovered if I mix in non-fat Greek yogurt to the cottage cheese with just a little bit of sugar-free gelatin, again, that's another processed food that I allow myself, right? Like very little to put in a little flavor in there. It tastes like my mom's pink salad, and it's delicious, and I love it. So I do 200 grams of the cottage cheese, 200 grams of the yogurt. I do about 2.5 grams of the gelatin, and then I put in a full serving of chia seeds, which is 36 grams of chia seeds, which adds tons of fiber. And it takes on the moisture, and I like it. It kind of reminds me of having like strawberries in there because of the crispity crunchy. Plus, it has that kind of citric acid flavor. And then I add in 80 grams of blueberries. I hope you guys care. I don't know if you guys care about this. Then I mix that all up. So I've got 2 bowls. I've got my egg whites and I've got my pink salad, and that's what I have for breakfast. Then sometime between breakfast and lunch, I usually have a snack. Now I need more fiber. So I have popcorn. I have like 50 grams of popcorn, and I do it full salt, full send, man. Movie theater style popcorn, because I love movie theater style popcorn, but I do 50 grams of it. And that is like, that's a lot of popcorn. Okay. But it gives me lots of fiber, gives me lots of carbs, gives me lots of sodium too, but it's okay. Because again, no heart issues. And, I wouldn't do this if I had a family history of heart problems, high blood pressure and stuff like that. I don't. So I do that snack. Then for dinner, which is usually early, I do chicken breast, usually around 200 grams of grilled chicken breast, sometimes baked chicken breast. I have 2 different ways that I make it. So 200 grams of that. I usually do either 250 grams of whole kernel yellow corn with some salt. I don't put butter on it because I love the taste of corn. I don't need butter. Or I do a different starch. I do skin-on baked potatoes, sometimes roasted potatoes. Same amount, 200, 250 grams, which is a lot, right? Gives me lots of carbs, but it's also satiating, right? And it gives me fiber, which is great. And then I usually have about 100 grams of a green vegetable. That can be asparagus, that can be broccoli, that can be peas, it can be a salad, something like that. And then I have another snack later on for my sweet tooth, and I do that in the form of dark chocolate, 72% dark cacao, 72% cacao, dark chocolate. And I might have 40 grams of that. And then when you add that all up, I'm right around 2,000 calories. And that's my diet. That's what I eat in a day. I'm always full. I have my salty, I have my sweet. And then I try to walk about an hour a day. But I spent my whole life being fat and out of shape. And so, my knees hurt some days. My ankles hurt some days. I'm not able to get to it some days. So if I've got a knee inflammation issue, I don't do that, right? I just pay very close attention to my body. And then 3 days a week, I lift weights. And, I do a home dumbbell workout, and it's very simple. It's one day I do pull exercises, one day I do push exercises, one day I do leg exercises. And again, like sometimes I get like an arthritis inflammation. It's actually bursitis inflammation in my joints, my elbows, my knees. Okay, I can't work out when I'm having a bursitis, incident. I have to stop. I have to give it a couple weeks. And I don't get down on myself. I just give myself time to heal, continue to eat properly, and say, you know what? You're a 50-year-old man, Gavin. You just sometimes your ankle will hurt. You don't want to aggravate it more, or sometimes your knees will hurt, or your elbows, or it's usually my joints, right? But I've gone since August 28th. I've gone from 288 pounds to 204 pounds. This morning I was 204 pounds, right? And I go up and down, like I've been kind of around that 203, 204, 205, 206, but the trend continues to go down. My original goal was 200 pounds. I think that my body it's much stronger. My chest is bigger. My shoulders are bigger. My arms are stronger. But I still think that my body is a little too big. I still have fat to lose. So once I hit 200, I'll celebrate for a minute, give myself an attaboy, and then I'm going for 190. And I'll stop where my body feels good. So, man, long tangent. I am so sorry. All right. What's our next? Cabling. Moms are just moms. We don't put ourselves in the spotlight. It's not a thing if you're a real mom. Yeah, my mom's that way. Meredith is a new registered dietitian. Oh, Meredith, I hope that I did everything. I hope I'm doing everything right. And congratulations. Archangel says that pink salad needs a live cooking video. I'm thoroughly enjoying your diet meals, says Jenny. Robin says, I eat oatmeal every morning, but add a scoop of vegan protein powder. Yeah, I'm not an oatmeal guy. I've never liked oatmeal, but yeah. Clarinet Gal is saying, what are your beverages of choice right now? Right now, I'm only water. And one of the things that contributed to my obesity was I drank soda, like fully leaded Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola. And I've broken myself of that habit. There will be a time that I'll have a soda again, but I think what I'm having to do right now is just recognize that I am in the weight loss section of my journey. And then for the rest of my life, however many more years or days or months, nobody knows, right? I have left on this planet, I maintain my health. And that every once in a while will include a soda, probably. Oh, by the way, like during holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, I partake. And then I get on the scale and I've gained weight, but you know what? I'm not depressed because I missed out on some sort of tradition. I just know, okay, well that put me back a few weeks, but what's a few weeks? I've got a whole lifetime of this, right? Who cares? Right? That's what I do. I just don't get down on myself. Sandra says, walking and swimming are considered the fountain of youth, no matter where you are on your health journey. Thanks for the tips. Yeah, thank you, Sandra. And I love swimming, but I don't love drying my hair. So when I'm finally done growing out my hair and I finally get it cut, which I'm so looking forward to, I think I will add swimming into the mix, because with short hair that I've had my whole life, it's not that big of a deal. But with long hair, dude, it's a pain. It's a pain. Oh, is there anything else that I should check? Okay, good. Guys, great comments, and thanks for engaging with me on there. We've got, what do we have next? Let me think about this. Oh yeah, it's 3 headlines.
It's
3 questions.
With Gavin Fish.
Okay, in 3 questions, I answer 3 of your questions that you sent to me at 3questions@gavinfish.com. 3questions@gavinfish.com. THREE, spelled out, questions at gavinfish.com. I solemnly promise to answer all the questions that I receive. Kind of running low on questions, everybody. It's time to send them in. Ask me about the mysteries of the universe. Ask me about the law. Ask me about a case. Ask me about my favorite color. I don't even care, but I will answer all of the questions. I personally love the questions where you guys can answer the questions too. I don't know. I really enjoy that. So send those in to 3questions@gavinfish.com. Today's first question comes from Diane G, who sent in a list of questions a week or two ago. Diane asks, where would you like to be in your career 5 years from now? Well, I hope that I will be doing YouTube full time in 5 years. And hopefully I'll be doing it on the road a little bit more. Hopefully I will be covering trials live, like not just live streaming trials, but also being there in the courtroom, kind of the way Joel does and Gisela does and Josh does. And I hope that I'm doing more investigative stuff. Like when I started YouTube and I wasn't live streaming every day, I loved the investigative stuff, digging into documents and going to courthouses and getting dusty and dirty in basements, getting old, exhibits and stuff like that. I loved that. I would love to do it again. I do hope. I mean, I enjoy the daily thing, but I do hope that there will be a time where it's like expected. Gavin is on vacation for a couple weeks. I hope there will be that, right? And maybe in 5 years there might be a team, right? Where it's my channel, but every once in a while there might be a guest host or something like that. That would be fun. That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, great question, Diane. Thank you. Question number 2 from Kelly. Have you ever gone swimming in one of the Great Lakes? Well, Kelly, I never had until we moved to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The Great Lakes, we are right on Lake Erie, right? And we have Lake Ontario just up in upstate New York. So I have gone swimming in the frigid, chilly waters of Lake Erie at Presque Isle in Erie, PA. I have dipped my feet into Lake Ontario. I have seen Lake Michigan. I have never seen nor visited Lakes Superior nor Huron, but I hope to someday. Yeah, the Great Lakes are astoundingly huge. It's so cool. It's really cool. Like during windy times up in Erie, there will be surfing on Lake Erie. There are swells big enough to go surfing up there. That happens in Lake Tahoe, by the way, sometimes too. All right, and question number 3. What is your recommendation? This from Cindy for best crime read, fiction or nonfiction. I had to look this up. Okay, so I'm not a fiction reader, but I have read Mystic River. I loved Mystic River. It is by Dennis Lehane. They made a movie out of it that was really, really good. Sad story. And I'm partial to sad stories. I don't know. I don't know. I like the tragedy. I like tragedies, and maybe it makes life feel more colorful because you can see less tragedy in real life when you're entertained by such tragedies. So Mystic River, I guess, is one that a fiction piece that I would suggest. And then my all-time favorite nonfiction book in the true crime genre is I'll Be Gone in the Dark, Michelle McNamara's amazing piece that led to the Golden State Killer's capture. And I don't care what anybody says. It was Michelle McNamara, Now, there are people that were important that worked on that case. So many important people, but I put that squarely on the shoulders of Michelle McNamara for keeping interest in the case, for getting, speaking of investigative work, crying out loud, she did such good work. And indeed coined the term Golden State Killer. Definitely read I'll Be Gone in the Dark. I love it, and I want to hear your book recommendations as well. And send your questions into 3questions@gavinfish.com. 3questions@gavinfish.com. I need more questions, guys. I'm running out of questions. And while you while you give me your answers to your take two, Javi, take two. While you give me your answers to these questions, let's get into some headlines.
True crime headlines.
Okie dokie. This is from kvoa.com. There are a couple cases, obviously, that we keep our eye on. This being the Nancy Guthrie case, written by Marissa Orr for KVOA.com. Headline reads, Day 72 of Nancy Guthrie case. Neighborhood patrols increase after YouTuber harassing complaints. What? Who could this be? What YouTuber could be in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood and be, according to neighbors, harassing them? Who could it be? Dateline Tucson. It has been 72 days since the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. As the search continues for the 84-year-old, there's an update regarding an increase in patrols due to YouTuber harassing complaints. News 4 Tucson has learned that the Pima County Sheriff's Department attended a recent homeowners association meeting in Guthrie's Catalina Foothills neighborhood. At the meeting, some of the neighbors complained about a YouTuber harassing residents in the area. PCSD confirmed that they have also received similar complaints from Guthrie's daughter Annie in relation to her neighborhood. The department has increased patrols in both areas due to those complaints. And then the investigation remains ongoing, and Sheriff Chris Nanos said his team, along with the FBI, is working through a large amount of DNA evidence and are still waiting on key lab results. Nanos stated advances in science could soon help break apart mixed DNA samples, making it possible to identify multiple contributors. As they wait on results, the focus is on piecing together thousands of clues already collected and combing through camera footage submitted. And if you have tips, call the FBI. There is $102,500 reward plus $1 million reward from the Guthries. Call 88-CRIME, call 1-800-CALL-FBI. But yeah, we've got a YouTuber allegedly harassing neighbors in the Catalina Foothills neighborhood. What a dill hole. Come on, man. Be better than that. Okay. We've got an update on Amy Hilliard. Amy Hilliard is a 52-year-old business owner. She owns a coffee shop in the Bay Area, one in Oakland, one in San Francisco. And she has gone missing. She is still missing. And this article comes to us from the San Francisco Chronicle, written by David Hernandez today. Family of missing Oakland coffee shop owner offers $10,000 reward. The family of Amy Hilliard, the beloved coffee shop owner who disappeared in Oakland last month, announced on Monday a $10,000 reward for any information that leads to her safe return. Quote, "We truly believe someone out there has seen Amy, may know where she is, or has information that could help bring her home," her husband, Chris Hilliard, said in a statement. That might be on the Bring Amy Home. Yeah. Yeah, there's a video. Maybe we should... Let's watch the video.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Hilliard.
Amy Hilliard's... Hold on, let me turn this up for you guys. I'll turn it up as loud as I can. Okay. Let me start it over. This is 1 minute and 24 seconds long.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Hilliard, Amy Hilliard's husband, and Amy's been missing for 2 weeks. We're doing this video now to help our efforts in bringing Amy home. Amy's superpower is to bring out the best in people. She made me a better person. She makes most people she comes in contact with a better person. She's able to bring out everyone's superpowers. Now we need those powers to bring her home. Community is a big part of who Amy is. She loves to bring people together. I know the community's out there for her now. My daughters and I, of course, love Amy unconditionally. We're suffering, and we just want her to come home. People ask me how I'm managing to get through the day, and at times the pain of not having her here by my side is unbearable. But I know the community out there and all the tireless efforts of all the volunteers, over 400, is giving me hope and the strength to continue. They haven't given up on Amy, and neither will we. We'd like to thank all of the volunteers, Oakland Police Department, Alameda County Sheriff's Office, for all their efforts. Every day we hold on to hope that someone somewhere has seen Amy and will help bring Amy home.
That was from April 8th, and then there's this update. We truly believe someone out there has seen Amy, may know where she is, or has information that could help bring her home. Despite the tireless efforts of hundreds of volunteers over the past 2 weeks, we are still searching for answers. The Oakland Police Department continues to follow up on leads, and we hope this reward encourages anyone with information to come forward. If you know anything, no matter how small it may seem, please contact the Oakland Police Department's Missing Persons Unit at 510-238-3641. Your information could make all the difference in bringing Amy home. So that is the update on Amy Hilliard. We want to bring her home. A couple more. This one in the prosecution of Tyler Robinson, the man accused of assassinating conservative activist Charlie Kirk. This written by our pal Michael Ruiz. The defense of Charlie Kirk's accused assassin, Tyler Robinson, is expected to call on an expert witness who also worked for Brian Koberger's legal team at Friday's hearing on their motion to kick news cameras out of the courtroom, according to court filings. California-based trial consultant Brian Edelman, who has a PhD in social psychology, conducted a telephone survey for the defense and reported his findings on March 13th. Quote, "It is Dr. Edelman's opinion that the modern internet and social media ecosystem, especially algorithmic curation and personalization, has fundamentally altered how news is consumed and makes local, high-profile publicity substantially harder to avoid for residents of the locality where the events giving rise to the case occurred and the case is being tried." Close quote, Robinson's attorneys wrote in a filing last week. Edelman's testimony is expected to delve into pretrial publicity and public opinion connected to the case against Robinson, who faces the potential DP if convicted of aggravated murder in Kirk's shooting death. For me, guys, my opinion on this is that voir dire is the answer to all of this. I'm telling you, we all live in a bubble, a true crime bubble. And the average everyday person just isn't paying attention to this. So yeah, through voir dire, getting a big enough jury pool impaneled, they will be able to get enough fair jurors. I mean, it's the defense's job to vigorously defend their client, do everything they can to do so, and I completely respect and love that, but I don't think it's going to work. Okay, last piece of true crime news. This from LA Magazine, written by Lauren Conlon. Burke family subpoenas remain in limbo. This having to do with Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Nearly 2 months ago, a Texas court paused orders that would have forced the family of singer David Burke, known professionally as David, to testify in a California grand jury investigation tied to the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Now their attorney, Kent Schaefer, tells Los Angeles, the magazine, there has been no update. The Burke family, what is it? Dawood, Colleen, and Caleb Burke initially filed petitions for writ of habeas corpus in Texas in an effort to block subpoenas compelling them to testify in California. A Texas appellate court denied those petitions, rejecting arguments that the order violated their due process rights. However, on February 25th, Schaefer confirmed with Los Angeles Magazine that the Court of Criminal Appeals granted their motion to stay the lower court's order. The case is currently pending in the Court of Criminal Appeals. With nearly 2 months having passed, Los Angeles Magazine followed up with Schaefer for an update. He confirmed that there has been no news, leaving the subpoena fight in limbo. If the Court of Criminal Appeals ultimately denies the writ, the subpoenas could be enforced, requiring the Burke family to testify before a California grand jury. Legal experts have confirmed that criminal grand juries in Los Angeles can sit for extended periods, often up to a year, meaning the window for testimony remains open, and it's not over yet. Ooh. Now, Wanda, we are going to need from you a little transition music. Now that we're finished, everybody, we can take a deep breath. We're finished. We now are going to get into a little good news. Wanda, hit us with some transition music. Let's hear it.
Let's transition now.
Yeah.
Let's transition now.
That was so good. Wanda, the window into her sound booth, I can't see all of the pedals she has on the ground. But man, the effects that you put on that guitar, Wanda, that was amazing. I don't know. Can we have one more? Oh, Wanda.
Close your eyes and transition. Can you feel it?
Oh, I can feel it. Wanda, my goodness, that you go from grunge to a power ballad. That was amazing. Wanda's our music director, everybody. She does a terrific job, and that got me. I'm ready for the happy news. I'm ready for good news, and this is a good one, everybody. This coming to us from People. Beach cleanup volunteers find rare sea turtle among 10,000 pieces of trash. We've got two facets to this. We got people out volunteering, cleaning up a beach, finding a whole bunch of trash, and saving a rare turtle. Let's go on. Written by Adam England, published today. Volunteers picking up litter in Folly Beach, South Carolina, found an endangered sea turtle among the cigarette butts and cans they set out to collect. Thank you, volunteers, for setting out to collect those things. Everybody, let's not litter. Let's keep our world beautiful. The 5th annual Toby's Earth Month island-wide spring litter cleanup took place in the city on Sunday, April 12th, with residents, visitors, and South Carolina Aquarium and local community groups collecting pieces of trash from beaches, marshes, and streets. While sweeping the beach, organizers helped save a juvenile Kemp's Ridley seal. There's a sea turtle, not seal. Kemp's Ridley sea turtle that had been hooked by an angler on the Folly Beach fishing pier. The turtle was raised from the water using a drop net. Dave Miller of Folly Beach Turtle Watch told WCSC-TV it was hooked in the mouth, but the hook readily became disengaged. The angler was sure that all hooks were accounted for and no hooks had been swallowed. If a hook had been swallowed, the turtle would have been transported to the Sea Turtle Care Center, Miller added. As well as the turtle, over 10,000 pieces of litter were collected in just 2 hours. Quote, what we do is born of our love for the ocean and our love for the environment. Sarah Butler, Executive Director of Surf Therapy nonprofit Waves for Women, told the network. Continuing the quote, you can't rely on others or somebody else will do it or it'll happen at a different time or it doesn't matter. It does matter, Butler continued. It matters now just like it mattered 10 years ago, and it's going to matter 10 years from now and 100 years from now. The turtle they rescued belongs to the smallest and most endangered species of sea turtle, said Miller. He added that the turtle was the beach's first stranding of the 2026 season, noting that it's quite rare to see the species in South Carolina. Quote, they primarily nest on beaches in the Gulf of Mexico, he added. They nest in large groups together and are the only sea turtle that nest during the day. Rising sea temperatures have expanded the turtles' range, which has left them vulnerable to cold, shocking events when the weather changes, according to Smithsonian Magazine. One was found washed up on a beach in Texas last month, with the Gulf Center for Sea Turtle Research revealing that she was being treated for severe pneumonia and associated ocular ulcers. So, hey, good people out doing good things, saving little good turtles that are swimming around in the warm waters of South Carolina, making their way. I just love people. I just love people. Good on you, people. Let's finish up with a couple of comments. See if you guys have anything that you want me to add to the thing. What does it say? Cabling says, "What about hard-boiled eggs, Gavin?" I do not like eggs. I just don't like eggs. So I wolf down the egg whites. It's the best I can do. But, I need the protein, so that's what I'm going to do. Debbie says, get the amazing Ann Burgess to interview. Oh, man, I need to do that. I would love to have her on. Robin says, it's a complete and utter mystery as to what YouTube person could be harassing people. I wonder who it could be. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Let's see if there's anything else down here. All right. We are good. We are good. All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for participating. Thanks for being here tonight. I know it was a long one. For those of you who stayed around to the end, I really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Don't forget you can go to Patreon to get those documents. I think we probably will continue on the Anna Kepner case tomorrow. I need to keep sorting through documents. We'll do so tonight, and we'll probably have more to report back tomorrow. So I'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern time right here on YouTube. I then upload to Spotify. So if you're a Spotify premium member, you can check it out there, or you can listen wherever you get podcasts. Last little thing I want to plug is if you go to my website and you click on the little fishy right here, that will take you to the fish tank where we hang out on Facebook and talk all things true crime. I invite you there. No pressure, just you're always invited. And with that, I bid you adieu. Thank you very much for being here. Catch you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.